great to be back.
You're listening to the Team High School Show on 101.7 The Team.
And welcome back.
Let's get back to the show with Gary Herron on your flagship station for APS Athletics, ESPN Radio 101.7 The Team.
Back for the second quarter, Kyle Henderson's going to be my guest, but I realized last week I didn't even pass along any scores. I had so much fun talking to the guests. So I want to give you some scores from games played this week on the high school football field. First, thanks or congratulations to the Rio Rancho High School cross-country teams. The boys and the girls won the APS Metro Championships last week at Sandia Community Stadium. On Thursday night, Academy shut out Santa Fe Indian School 42-0. Atrisco Heritage Academy beat Valley. Don't look for Valley to win that district championship now. West Mesa, the front runner, but they'll also have to tango with those Jaguars from Atrisco Heritage. They beat the Vikings 42-33, and down south, Las Cruces, no problem with Gadsden, 56-6. Mayfield was idle this weekend, and all the teams in District 4, 6A are idle this weekend. Last night, Aztec beat Farmington 29-26. Berlin, in the game heard here on the team, beat Valencia 49-6. Capital kept Bernalillo winless 55-7. Centennial splattered Chaparral 49-3. Cleveland, a 57-0 winner over Santa Fe. Espanola Valley, undefeated, beating Del Norte 40-18. Moriarty shuts out Grants 36-0. Oñate keeps its playoff hopes alive, beating Deming 37-6. Rio Rancho, a 36-34 winner over Volcano Vista on the Hail Mary pass on the game's final play. Sandia upsets El Dorado 17-12. St. Pius remains undefeated with a 28-20 win over Lovington, and West Mesa beats Rio Grande 48-6. And now let's talk to the guru from high school football in the state of New Mexico, Kyle Henderson. Good morning, Kyle.
Gary, how are you doing today? What a beautiful night of high school football. Wow.
Yeah, let's talk to me in order of your highlights from last night.
Well, I think there's three big games that certainly jump off the map when we talk Week 8 Friday night scores. And I think number one is the Espanola Valley Sun Devils beating Del Norte last night 40-18 to improve to 7-0 on the season. This is Espanola football we're talking about. I think they've been the doormat, for the last couple decades, and now they're 7-0, close to finishing out the year 10-0. They got Los Alamos next week, and then they got a matchup with Capital. So it's going to be interesting to track the Espanola Sun Devils and see where they are seated come playoff time.
Okay, wait a minute. Time out. Now, this is the most wins they've ever had in a season. This is football. They win this many games early in basketball. To you, and you've been around for a while, and I've been around longer, but I don't remember Espanola Valley ever looking this good. What's the key? What's the secret to the Sun Devils this year?
I think it's the success and the hard work that Miguel Medina, their head football coach, has put in. I think, him sticking it out and him grinding it along and getting kids to come out and play football. It's just not a basketball school, and kids starting to buy into the program. And I don't think their schedule has been that strong, but they're beating the teams that they used to lose to and games that used to be tight. And now they're just winning those games by a long shot. I thought they might beat Del Norte last night, but deep down I was like, are they really going to beat, Bruce Binkley's team at home? And sure enough, they come out and 40-18. So hats off to the Espanola Valley Sun Devils.
Okay, now take it away. What's number two?
I think Sandia beating El Dorado. I mean, like Coach was saying in your first quarter segment, El Dorado came into that game scoring 45.5 points a game. They're held to just 12 last night, really only 10 because they spotted them that safety. Coach Barker and the Sandia Matadors saved their season, beating the El Dorado Eagles. It makes an interesting district format now because you have Manzano, who's now in first place. You have Sandia and El Dorado tied in the district. So some marquee district games in 2-6A as we move forward. It just completely blows up your high school football playoff prediction bracket.
Yeah, we've seen that happen before. Number three from last night or even Thursday night.
Well, Friday night, I titled it Hail Mary Full of Rams. I mean, the Rio Rancho Rams defeating Volcano Vista in a thriller. I had actually tweeted out the final score that Volcano Vista had won, and then I checked it out, and Rio Rancho pulled it off. And one thing that I was talking about with the Rams is they have proven this year, and dating back to last year, that they can win the big game at home. They beat Naples in the state championship. This year they beat Clovis, as you mentioned, and then last night beating Volcano Vista down the stretch. Stephen Bailey continues to impress me, along with guys like Josh Foley, Brian Drake, and the young sophomore last night who caught the touchdown pass. But hats off to the Rio Rancho Rams. I think, depending on how things shake out, they're certainly going to land a home field playoff game come playoff time.
You mentioned a very cogent point there about winning at home because they had lost, I think it was back in the early 2000s, they lost 3 consecutive playoff games at home. And just 2 seasons ago, Volcano Vista came to that very field and beat them in a quarterfinal game, 25-24. And the Rams have been district champs that year.
Yeah, Rio Rancho is just, taking off as a top 5 program, and we talked about that last week. And, what Rio Rancho and Cleveland have become football-wise, I mean, they're no longer just good teams. They're football powers, and I don't think Rio Rancho is as good as they've been in the years past. I think they're program good, meaning they're probably still better than 90% of the teams, but not as good as they've been in years past. Next year, they're going to be even better. I can't wait to see Rio Rancho and Cleveland here in a couple weeks. I think it's going to be an epic game.
And I think it's too early to look ahead to next year. Boy, I don't even know who their quarterback. Well, they do have actually last week at Santa Fe they played 4 kids under center. They do have a junior and a sophomore. Bailey's a senior, and you talked about how good he's doing. And to do that as just a backup for Easton Bruere the last few seasons, and to come in and play like a top-notch quarterback, hats off to him. Anything else that stands out from last night? Then I got a couple questions for you.
Well, if you want to dip down to the smaller ranks in Class 4A, Hatch Valley moved to 8-0 in the season, defeating the Silver Colts 35-10. Jack Sisko, who's in the New Mexico Coaches Hall of Fame, continues to lead the Hatch Bears to a fantastic season. So in Class 4A, you have Hatch Valley, who's 8-0, and then you also have the Portales Rams, who are idle this week. They're 7-0, so potentially setting up a big-time showdown late in the season if those two teams are to cross paths, maybe in the state championship. Who knows? Still real early to talk that.
Who doesn't make the playoffs in 6A? I know there's still a few weeks to be played. There's still some teams that have barely dipped into the district. But who do you think's going to be in a few weeks when they announce the seedings going, God, we should be in there, but they're the 13th team?
Well, it could quite possibly be Cibola. And I know Cibola beat Manzano head-to-head, but with Sandia beating El Dorado last night, it creates a chain of reaction, for the high school football seedings. And if Cibola doesn't beat help me out, Gary. Who do they have remaining?
They've got Rio Rancho, Cleveland, and then Santa Fe. They'll beat Santa Fe.
Exactly. So if they finish 6-4, and if Manzano is able to beat La Cueva, there's going to be, and let's say El Dorado is able to beat Manzano. Now, it's probably confusing talking about it, and we're talking that on NMProfs.com right now, but it could create a 3-way district tie in 2-6A, meaning that Manzano wouldn't likely get left at home, and because they finished the stretch high, it could bump Cibola out. It could bump a team like Oñate out if Oñate doesn't beat Las Cruces. So I think teams like Oñate, Cibola, now in the bubble right now with that big win, Sandia probably saved their season with their 17-12 victory over El Dorado last night.
And I think the team that's playing to be the spoiler with no shot of going to the playoffs is La Cueva, which has Sandia and Manzano in its headlights, 2 of the next 3 opponents. And if La Cueva could play its best game of the year and Sandia or Manzano have a letdown, La Cueva could spoil somebody's playoff plans.
You're absolutely right. I mean, La Cueva's they're going to be good again next year and the year after that. They're real young this year, but they're still potent. They got guys in the backfield, and they're healthy now with the Silver kid back and Jonathan Strollman now eligible. They're dangerous, and it's not like Manzano's just been a lock every single week. I mean, they've kind of had to, escape these last victories, and I'm excited to see how that district shakes out, but I'm really excited about Coach Chad Adcox and the Manzano Monarchs because early in the year they took their lumps losing big games to Cleveland and to Volcano Vista, but reeling off wins over Mayfield, and Sandia, as of late, have certainly shined, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, you want your team playing better as the season goes along, and Manzano's certainly done that. Now, another topic before we let you go, Kyle, Grant Hermans. Last week at Santa Fe, he was off. It was the second game he'd missed in a row. They didn't need him for Santa Fe. He said for sure he'd be back for Volcano Vista. Last night, he's on crutches. Coach David Howes told me he may not play football again.
Wow, that's really disappointing to hear. I mean, I really feel bad for the kid and any of these kids that, they work so hard in the weight room. I mean, honestly, you should see these kids at these upper-tier programs. I mean, they're doing this year-round, and to see a guy, especially like Grant, with someone of his personal stature, just be on the sidelines, be on crutches, and it goes for any kid. I mean, it just breaks your heart because they put in so much time, so much effort, and, to see their season come to an end, I mean, it definitely hurts and it hits home. But you move forward, and there's some other guys in Rio Rancho that have certainly stepped up. Logan Hurts is a guy who's kind of jumped up as a new name, and Rio Rancho and Cleveland and all these programs have depth, and that's where they're good year in and year out.
Yeah, Grant Herman's one of the real good guys. I'm sorry to hear that, and Iowa State may have to just take a pass on having him come and play. Kyle, thanks again. We'll talk to you next Saturday. NMPreps.com. Check it out, everybody. They're always talking about something on that site, and we'll talk to you next week, Kyle.
Thank you very much.
That's Kyle Henderson. We've reached the halfway point. We're at halftime. We're going to take a break and come back with more. You're listening to the Team High School Show. I'm Gary Herron. Don't go away.